The topic of today's lecture is relational calculus. We have done relational algebra, and we have seen that relational algebra is a mechanism by which you are expressing and producing some relations, in the sense that if we had an expression in relational algebra which did pi of a of sigma of d equal to x of the relation R, then in that case we first selected out those elements in R whose attribute B was equal to x, and then we projected out the attribute A from the relation R. So the relation R must be having at least the attributes A and B and maybe more. And every relational algebra expression produces another relation. Relational algebra has got the property that it is in some sense procedural in nature. You have to not only you have to specify the relation which is to be obtained, and for that you have to specify exactly how you will obtain it. That you have to specify for any relation how you will obtain it, that is, you have to define the new relation. But in relational algebra you have to give in details how to do it, in the sense that what are the steps, what are the sequence of steps required to obtain the desired relation. So that is what relational algebra is, a mathematical mechanism for defining new relations over a relation scheme, but it is procedural in nature. The difference between relational algebra and relational calculus mainly stems from the point of this procedurality of relational algebra. Relational calculus, on the other hand, is another language for defining new relations. So it is a language which, like relational algebra, it forms the basis of any query language. Basis of a query language. We have seen earlier that a query language is just a language which expresses new relations. Relational calculus is also a query language, a mechanism for expressing new relations, but its difference with relational algebra, it is non-procedural in some sense. This means that in order to express a relation using the relational calculus scheme, you don't have to detail out all the steps or the sequence of steps by which you are to obtain the relation. You are to just define the relation in some logical language. So it uses Relational calculus uses the concepts of formal logic to express relational queries. There are two very well known mechanisms or well known formulations of relational calculus. The two well known formulations are these are two formal languages based on the idea of relational calculus for expressing queries or relations. They are similar to a large extent and differ in some syntactic and some methodological uh, definitional differences they have amongst themselves. Otherwise, they follow the same basic philosophy, and we will discuss today the tuple relational calculus. In tuple relational calculus, a relation is expressed as a set. Anyway, we have understood that relation is a set of attributes, and in tuple relational calculus, it is expressed explicitly in a set format. Now, in a set format, we say this is the general format for the set. P is a tuple variable. P is a tuple variable, and P is a predicate on the tuple variable T. The idea is like this: using tuple relational calculus, this is true for even domain relational calculus. In tuple relational calculus, we define a tuple. We define a set of tuples using a predicate Pt. Let that set which we define, which is a relation, be S. Then the function which this predicate performs is this: for every tuple which must exist in this set, Pt must be true. For every tuple which must exist in this set, Pt must be true. In order to see several examples of relations in tuple relational calculus or queries in tuple relational calculus, we will use our original library database. So, we will quickly go back to our library database. We have got the book relation, which has got accession number, year of publication and title. We have got the user relation, which has got card number, borrower's name, borrower's address. We have got the supplier relation, which has got the supplier name and supplier address. We have got the borrow relation, whose attributes are accession number, card number and date of issue, and the attributes of the sub relation are accession number, supplier name, price and date of supply. So, using these again we will see several examples on using tuple relational calculus, and some of them will be similar to the examples which we did in relational algebra. A tuple relational calculus expression will look like this, or it may look like this. This means that this will give a relation. Let us look at it as a table. Let this be S. So, let this table be S. Now, this table will have some attributes and some tuples. This relation will define what attributes it has and what are the tuples which are there in this particular new relation which is formed. Now, when I write T element of book, it means that all the attributes of book are also attributes of S. That is the first thing. When I write simply T element of book, then it means that all the attributes of S of book are also attributes of S. So, here S will have accession number, year of publication, title. So, this is how we get the attributes if I have T element of book. There are other ways to get a subset of the attributes which we shall come to later on. But in the simplest case, when we write just T element of a relation R, all the attributes of that relation are attributes of the new relation formed as well. Now, what are the tuples? For every tuple, this relation must be satisfied. For every tuple in S, this relation must be true. So, if there is a tuple in S, for that tuple T must be an element of book and year of publication must be 1991. So, that way we will be able to obtain in the new relation S the set of tuples which are those books which are published in 1991. We will be able to get those books which are published in 1991. Now, let us see a few things regarding this. What is the equivalent relational algebra expression for this? The equivalent relational algebra expression for this is select year of publication equal to 1991 of book. Now, here we explicitly mention you have to select those elements. On the other hand, here we say for every element of T, this relation must be satisfied. How you will get the elements of T, we do not explicitly mention. That is the major difference, and it will become more and more clear as we come to newer and newer examples. So, this way we have got those books which appeared in 1991. Now, since suppose 1991 is well known and we do not want the attribute 1991 and the year of publication, we only want accession number and title. We are not interested in this attribute because we are selecting out 1991 anyway. Then how will we do the selection of the attributes which is a subset of the attributes of this particular relation? For that we use the concept of there exists. We will write down T Now let us see what this query is. This query says that S will consist of a set of tuples T. Now what is the property that must hold for the set of tuples T? For every set, for every tuple in T, there must exist another tuple in book. This is there exists. This is the meaning of this is for every tuple T in S, there exists some tuple U in book such that U year of publication, this way we specify the attribute, the value of the attribute of a particular tuple. The year of publication of that U must be 1991, and the accession number in T will be same as accession number of U, and the title of T will be same as title of U. Okay. So how will we derive the attributes of this? We will, if we mention that T is an element of a particular relation, then all the attributes of that relation come up. But here we have not mentioned that T is an element of some relation. So we will get those attributes which have been explicitly mentioned for T. Here, two attributes have been explicitly mentioned for T, and it is only these two attributes which will appear in the relation. So the first point is, when T element of some relation is given, all the attributes of that relation will come. Otherwise, the attributes of T which are explicitly mentioned, they are the only relevant attributes which will be appearing. So what this statement means is that this will have, whatever this has, S will be a relation having a set of tuples. For each tuple, this must match. What must match? Take any tuple here. Corresponding to this tuple, there must exist an element of book such that the accession number is the same, the title is the same, and the year of publication of that book here is 1991. So this way, we have specified the property of each and every tuple in T. We have not specified exactly how to get it. That is, we will not specify that we will have to first select out all tuples which are 1991 and then project out accession number and title. That sequence we have not set. And in fact, you can order these up in any way, it does not matter. You can write there exists U element of book, T title equal to U title, and U year of publication equal to 1991, and T accession number is equal to U accession number. That's all. You have to just specify that this relation must hold for each and every tuple in T. Let's see another example. The SUPP relation is used here. The SUPP relation has got attributes, accession number, S name, price, and date of supply. And we have said that we want in this relation, this new relation, must be such that for every tuple here, there must exist an S element of sub such that the price is greater than 1000 and supply name is equal to TS name. So here we will have only one attribute, because that is the only attribute which has been mentioned, which will consist of a set of supplier names, and for every supplier name which is mentioned here, there must exist in S a tuple such that this name is equal to this name and this price is greater than 1000. So this is a simple example of a query in tuple relational calculus. Now let us try to solve some problems. So let us, before solving these problems, we will quickly see that tuple relational calculus is expressed like this. This is a formal Boolean expression which returns true or false for every tuple. Now this Boolean expression is expressed in a particular syntax. This syntax is called the formal syntax of tuple relational calculus, and this formal syntax will consist of a grammar which expresses exactly how the formulae which are mentioned here will be formed. We will not go into this in the first phase now. We will see several examples and hope that using these examples the formal syntax will be quite clear. The formal syntax is very simple and it uses for the syntax of any Boolean expression with variables, and the two quantifiers there exists and for all. But let us come to some examples first before we see how we will reach the formal syntax. The first problem that we will solve is this. Find all borrowers. Borrowers is coming from the borrow relation and their addresses. So we want to find out their names and their addresses for those who have issued a book on 14/8/95. Unlike the previous two examples where we wanted the supplier names of those who have supplied books, let us see what is the English meaning of the previous two examples. The meaning of this is, get the names of all suppliers who have supplied at least one book worth more than 1000. This is the meaning of this is, get the name of at least one all suppliers such that each supplier must have supplied at least one book whose price is greater than 1000. A relational algebra expression for this is direct. Now this one, however, we have to find borrower name and addresses for those who have issued a book on 14/8/95. Now from the borrower relation we will get the card number, B name and B address. We will not be able to get the date of issue of a particular book. That will be available, from the user there are two relations. We have got the user relation where we have got borrower name, borrower address and card number, and the borrow relation where we have got the accession number, card number and date of issue, and we will have to use both of them now. So now we will see an example where we use both of them. So I will slowly develop this expression. We want to find out those tuples T such that there will exist some U element of user for every tuple in T there must exist some U element of user such that T of, we want the name and addresses in T, so T will contain name and addresses only. T name must be U of B name and T of the B address of T. These are the two attributes which we want in T, name and address, will have to be the same as borrower's address, and what else must be true? And there must exist another tuple W element of borrow such that U card number is equal to W card number and U date of issue is equal to W date of issue, I am sorry, it is not U date of issue. This bracket closes here, this bracket closes here. So, every tuple in T must satisfy that there must exist U element of user such that T of borrower's name is equal to U of borrower's name, and T of address must be U of address. We want those names and addresses. And there must exist another W element of borrow such that U card number, this U card number which is been selected already, is the same as the W card number, and W date of issue is 14895. This query can be written in many other ways. This is not the only way. Since you are not specifying the exact procedure, you will see that there are thousands of ways in which a relational calculus query can be written. The same query can be written, there exists W element of borrow such that for every tuple in T there must exist W element of borrow such that W date of issue is equal to 14895 and there must exist some U element of user such that W card number must be equal to U card number and T of B name is equal to U Now let us pay some attention to this. This is the same as the previous query. It gives you the same result. Now this bracket corresponds to this bracket and this bracket corresponds to this bracket. Therefore, when W has been selected here, inside this W corresponds to the W which has already been selected. So there exists a W and then for that there must exist a U element of user such that card number is equal to this card number. It doesn't matter which way, which order you write this first, this second, does not matter. You write this, all this does not matter. So this is one query which is corresponding to a simple natural join of what is the equivalent relational algebra. You have to do borrow you could have selected out the date of issue from here. And from here you will select out. This is the equivalent relational algebra expression. Borrow join user, date of issue is this. We will see another one which which is slightly different from the previous one because it has got this one. Find all borrowers. Let us say here, when we say borrowers, we are interested only in borrower names. Okay. So we are interested in B names. Who have issued a book supplied by supplier, Narosa or Allied. So this is one supplier name, and so is this another supplier name. So we want the borrower names of those who have issued a book which is supplied by the supplier name Narosa or by Allied. Now what are the relations where we will get these results? We have got the user relation where we have got the borrower name, borrower address and card number. We have got the sup relation where we have got the accession number, we have got the supplier name, and we have got price and date of supply. But these two together will not be able to resolve this query because they have nothing in common, and to know which book has been issued, whether and that book has been supplied, we are going by accession number. We are not going by titles here. We are just going by accession numbers. If we go by titles, it becomes a little more complicated, but it is similar in nature. So for this, we need the borrowed by relationship, and for that we have to use the borrow relation, which has got the accession number, the card number, and the date of issue. We will have to use all three of them, and in relational algebra we would have had to do a natural join of these three and then select out and project out the relevant attributes. Here what we will do is, we will have T such that there exists U element of user, and for that T we have only one attribute, the name must match, and then for this person must have borrowed some book. So for that there must exist B element of borrow such that U of card number is equal to B of card number, that is, now we have got the tuple must have the same name as the user, and the card number of the user must be existing in a borrow relation, and for this we must have some S element of the sub relation such that S accession number is equal to B accession number, and now we have an OR relation. So, we will have something or something. What is this? We will have S of S name equal to Narosa, or S of S name equal to Allied. This bracket corresponds to this, another bracket is required to correspond to this, a third bracket is required to correspond to this, a fourth bracket is required to correspond to this, and the curly bracket is required to correspond to this. So, now we have got the required query, and as explained earlier, we could have written them out in any order, it would still be okay. It is not that it will be okay in all cases, but in this particular case it will be okay. We could have found out whether there exists a supplier who has got supplier name Narosa or supplier name Allied, for which there must exist something in borrow such that the accession number of borrow will be equal to accession number of this supplier, and there must exist a user whose card number will be same as the card number in the borrow relation, and the name of the user must be same as the name of the person mentioned in the required answer relation. So, I hope that this way we will be able to get the required query. A third thing which is similar to the previous one, but is slightly different and will require a slight we can now do final borrowers who have issued a book supplied by Narosa and Allied. That is easy, it is very similar to the previous one. This one is slightly different. Find all borrowers who have issued a book supplied by Narosa but have not issued any book supplied by Allied. So, issued one book supplied by Narosa but have not issued any book supplied by Allied. Let us see how we will get around to solve this one. We will start in a similar way. T, there must exist a U element of user such that T of B name is equal to U of B name, and there must exist B element of borrow such that U of card number is equal to B of card number, and now there must exist two things. Firstly, there must exist a supplier such that the book is supplied by Narosa, that is the first thing, and for all books which are so this is the first part. The first part is all borrowers who have issued a book supplied by Narosa. So, and there must exist S element of supplier This is the first part of the query. This must be true. This must be true. That is, take any tuple of T, this must be true. So this part ends this statement. Before going to the next part, we will have to see the scope of these variables. This bracket says, goes into all, you have chosen a user and this is the name corresponding to the user. In the next one you have chosen a borrower, a borrow relation, and you have matched the card number, you have got the accession number of the book. So this book must be supplied and there must exist, and either there must exist, and this must be true, that there must exist this, and something else must be true. So this and is one part of the story. For a user who has selected the book, and there must not exist for the book which has been selected, that is, you have got the card number and the accession number of the book which has been taken by this user. For this book, there must not exist, there does not exist any Q element of SUPP such that Q accession number is the same as B accession number and Q of S name equal to allied. This closes this bracket. These two brackets up to here is already closed. The next will close this bracket. This will close the third bracket. I'll explain this once again. We have to find all borrowers who have issued a book supplied by Narosa but have not issued any book supplied by allied publishers. Therefore, for that tuple T, there must exist a user with the same name, and there must exist a book which has been borrowed by this card number, and for that book, now you have got the accession number of the book. For that book, you must have two things which hold. One is, there must exist, for that book, there must exist a supplier, Narosa, who has supplied that book, and there must not exist a supplier who has supplied that book whose name is allied. You could have written it in other ways, but this is one way to write this query of something which does not exist.
So if you write the supplier's name is equal to Narosa and supplier's name is not equal to allied.
That also, in this particular case, supplier's name is equal to Narosa and supplier's name is not equal to allied. It will work because a supplier's name cannot be both of them. Okay. But if you say there exists a supplier such that supplier name equal to Narosa and supplier name not equal to allied, then there may be for this accession number another tuple in SUPP such that this accession number matches. Suppose we had gone by titles, then it would have been even more complicated. In accession numbers, it may be simple, but if you do not follow this idea in titles, you will fall into problems. In accession number, you could have written and this not equal to, because accession number is a primary key. But if you go through the same thing through titles, then unless you take this approach, you will not get the correct answer. That is why I have taken this approach. This is a simple query. This is a query corresponding to the using the same relation, that is, do a natural join on the same relation, and we required a rename, you remember? We require, find the name of all suppliers who have the same address as Narosa. we require to do a Cartesian product of uh, supplier with supplier, that is name and address, supplier with supplier, rename one of them and then do a select out of that Cartesian product. That is why I have chosen this particular example. Here it will come out like this: for all tuples T, there must exist an S element of supplier such that T of S name is equal to S of S name, and there must exist another U element of supplier as well such that U's S address is the same as the S address of S and U S name is Narosa. For every tuple T, there must exist two tuples in supplier. So we have got the two tuples in supplier this way. That is, there must exist a tuple in suppliers which has got the same name as the tuple name here, and there must exist another tuple in supplier which has got the same address as the address which has been selected for this S name, and the name of the person in U must be Narosa. So this way we have got out the query which we required to rename. This is the way we do it in here. Now we come to two slightly more complex relations where we will use the concept of titles. Find the supplier, that is again supplier name, who has supplied some title issued by Vijay. So here we need the user relation which has got the name and address and card number. We need the book relation, we need the borrow relation, and we need the SUPP relation. All four of them are required now, because this will give you Vijay. Using this you will get the accession number, from that using the book you will get the title, and from the title and the accession number you will get whether the supplier has supplied a book with the same title as the accession number of the book issued by Vijay. So we need not only these, we need to use some of them more than once. So this one you will have to use the supplier, the book, so it will be T, there exists S element of sub T of S name is equal to S of S name. I shall not complete it, I shall leave it for completion by Yo. And now you have got the name. From here you get the accession number of the book. From the accession number of the book and the borrow relation you will get the card number of Vijay. the name of Vijay, and you will have to match the name of Vijay. That is the first thing which has to be done, that you have to find out that this book has been issued by Vijay. That is point number 1. Then from the book and the title, that is, you will have to use this book relation twice. Firstly, you will have to use this book relation to get the accession number and title of the book, and then you have to find another book which has the same title and it has been issued by Vijay. The previous one is part of using the same relation twice. Find the names of those who have got the same address. Here you will have to use book twice to find out those titles which have got the same accession number as the book which has been issued by Vijay. So you have to get the supplier name who has supplied a title to Vijay. Sorry, he may not have supplied the title to Vijay. He may have supplied it to anybody. Now Vijay will issue a particular book. That book will have an accession number and a title. There may be another book with the same title, and that accession number of that book, the second book which has the same title, may have been supplied by this supplier. So this will use all the 4 and will use book twice. The advantage, however, is that you get a logical idea of what you are doing, and the order in which you do it does not matter so much. The previous one was some, this one is all books. For the concept of all books, we will have to use another quantifier. We had previously there exists quantifier. Now we will have a for all quantifier. This is called for all. This means that every tuple in T must satisfy what? Given a tuple in T, the year of publication must be such. Sorry. This should be U. This is 1991. I'm sorry, this is not a proper query which does not use T. I will write down a proper query which uses T. T for all U element of book T of year of publication is equal to U of let us see what this looks like, what this means. If I had replaced this by there exists, if this was replaced by there exists, it would mean that for every tuple in T, there may exist some tuple in book such that the year of publication and title is same. So I'll just select out the year of publication and title. Whereas this means that this is book and this is the relation S. It means that this will have two attributes, year of publication and title. Now, for each tuple, I must have it such that every tuple in book must satisfy the year of publication must be same as this and the title must be same as this, which actually means that the book can have only one element, can have elements whose year of publication and title, all of them must be same as this tuple. This is what it means. It doesn't make much sense to write this query, but this is the meaning of this for all, and we will see how it makes some sense by just changing it a little. So, yeah, this is similar to division. This is similar to division. This is not division, but this is the meaning of for all. If we replace this query like this, that is, I have replaced the and by the implies, then it means that in S I will have two attributes, title and year of publication, and in book I have got three attributes, accession number, title and year of publication. For any tuple here, it means that for all tuple in books, if this matches, then if this does not match, it's okay, it is satisfied automatically. It means that if this matches, if year of publication is same, then the title should be same. If the year of publication is same, then the title should be same. That means that if the year of publication is same, then this title must be same. For all books, for this tuple, for each and every book, if the year of publication is same, then the title is same. This must hold for this one also. So if this book is published in 1991, then only 1991, this will contain all the books, that is the only book in 1991 which is available. If 1992, there must be only one book available, otherwise this query will not be satisfied. And using this for all,